Joining us this morning, Titania Jordan.
Tatiana Jordan. Did I get the name right? Jordan?
Titania.
Titania. Okay.
Titania. All right. It's Titania Jordan.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. I am here today with Jeffrey Martin of HonorCode. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here.
And so tell everybody who is watching right now, what is HonorCode?
Awesome. So, HonorCode is a nonprofit organization, and we provide curriculum and training to schools to bring computer science and social emotional learning into the general K-12 classroom. And we do this through teacher professional development.
That's so needed. It is so important. And Jeffrey, how did HonorCode come about?
All right. So HonorCode came about as a way of me taking the story of my childhood and how I grew up and kind of putting that into a solution that our city could use to improve the life outcomes of Blacks and Latinos here in Atlanta and also in our state. So I grew up with two drug-addicted parents that at that time, they really didn't know how to prioritize my needs as a child over some of the traumas that they had been through. And so from living in this environment and going to the high school that I went to and going to Wharton and doing some things at Goldman Sachs and also with Teach for America, it really got me thinking about what are things that we need to be having in our classroom for our students to, I guess, be able to be in the economy and be able to, I guess you would say, compete in the economy, exactly. And so during my time in teaching, I was wondering, I was like, okay, and also just kind of looking at Georgia, you look at Georgia and our financial tech industry is about, what, $34 billion in annual revenue, and we're only third behind California and New York, all right? Exactly. You look at our cybersecurity industries, and they capture 25% of world market revenue. And Atlanta's ranked as the 6th fastest growing city for startups that currently boasts 20,000 open computer programming and IT-related jobs. We have this mighty tech sector, but then when you look at the learning that's happening in our public school system, a little less than 5% of Atlanta public schools offers classes in computer science.
It is just mind-boggling, right? The opportunity that exists. There are jobs just waiting for people to take them.
Right.
Yet
exactly.
the not only workforce development, but the education development is so lacking, which is why what you're doing is crucial. It's critical.
Exactly. And also just to kind of do this, we know that we can't put every single kid in a coding boot camp.
No.
A coding boot camp is around $14,000, all right? And a 4-year degree in this is around $64,000, depending on where you go.
That is just ridiculous.
And so we're trying to, and how we approach this thing is through teacher training, and it's just one of those things. If you end up teaching teachers how to use skills in computer science, and also this social emotional learning component where they're building projects in classrooms where they're able to develop skills with character and problem solving and collaboration and grit, where we get to ensure that our kids in the K-12 pipeline have these hard and soft skills that are needed to be, I guess, again, be useful in this economy that we have here.
Yeah, it's so true that technology is the great equalizer, right? If you can give children the tools and education to develop their highest and best use, you know, the sky's the limit. But if they don't even have the opportunity, you know, they're never going to be able to grow.
Exactly.
I remember in high school, you know, everybody had a computer at home, and we didn't have one. Like, my mom was a single mom. You know, we were at a really nice private school, but on scholarship, and so I would literally have to get to school early, get into the computer lab and type up my papers in 30 minutes until school started, because that was how I could use a computer, right? And so if I would have had a computer at home, who knows what maybe I could have made an A+ because I wasn't trying to crank out a B+ paper in 30 minutes. So it's little things like that that people don't think about, and it's hugely impactful. Do you mind sharing more about your personal story and how you kind of overcame that environment and how you flourished and blossomed into who you are today?
Of course. So even though I did have my parents and they were in the situation that they were in, I was really blessed to have my godmom and my godgrandmother who lived next door that really, really helped steer me through that. And it was always this phrase of like, you don't have to be like your parents. And that was just something that always stuck with me. So when I was at Drew Charter School, and this is in the former East Lake Meadows area where we had a lot of crime and things in those spaces, I, in 5th grade, was reading, how would you say, my godmom, she was like, okay, so you think you're smart. So 5th grade, she had me reading like Flannery O'Connor and like Ernest Hemingway and all of these things. And like, while the rest of my friends during the summertime, they were able to go out and play with their friends, which is still really important.
It's important, yeah.
You know, I had to write a book report every single day. And before I could do anything, and even if I got done with those things, it was like, okay, you're done. Like, go and look up some different words in like in the dictionary and see how you could add those to your vocabulary. So, I had a very rigid godmom, and I do appreciate that tough love that she gave me, because after I graduated from Drew, it got me a full ride to go to Paideia for high school.
Awesome school.
Right. And then from Paideia, again, that's still that grit that she was helping me build, which is something that we put in our curriculum, actually. I ended up getting a full ride to go to the Wharton School of Business.
Bam.
And so those things are, it was just pivotal in terms of my development as an adult. And so through that time frame, I got the opportunity to work for Goldman Sachs in New York. And even during my senior year, I was like, okay, so I could go into this finance world, or, you know, I can go and potentially be a teacher. And that's where going and working with Teach for America came up. And I was doing my work in Providence, Rhode Island. And so those 2 years, I got a chance to really, really see what it meant to be a teacher there. So it definitely, all of those pieces kind of come together. It was just, I felt like this is a space that I can make some impact in, and really just taking my story and working with kids from that area has been a really, really interesting experience. And this is my 5th year in the classroom now.
I love it. You talk about implementing grit into the curriculum. How do you do that? Because it's everybody, like, we all want to know that.
Yeah. So grit, and this is just something, and you know, I know Professor Duckworth, who wrote a book about grit, this, came out last year, if I'm not mistaken. She got the MacArthur Fellowship around this. And so the concept of grit and how you deal with this, and I tend to look at software engineers. So software engineers, you can put something in front of them and they will sit there and work day in and day out to make sure that this one component of their code is working. Shifting that to something that's not so technical, the grit is really just perseverance, and it's how are you using these problem-solving skills to solve a specific problem. And it doesn't, and even if you don't necessarily get the answer, that's okay. But are you attempting it multiple times? Are you using your resources? In terms of how we do it in our curriculum, our kids are placed in groups. Some of your teammates may be more technical than you are, and the other folks may be more, I would say, our business folks, all right? And are they able to represent what you and your team are doing? So it's all built in within our projects. This is the long way of answering that question.
No, that's great. It's very insightful, and a skill set that probably is not pushed enough on this next generation. It's huge, so important. The website is honorcode.org.
HonorCodeATL.org.
HonorCodeATL.org, very important to know that. We will pop that link up in our description below this video. And you're based out of the Atlanta Tech Village?
So we are actually based out of the Center for Civic Innovation, but
Oh.
our September 12th fundraiser will be at Atlanta Tech Village, and we are very grateful for them giving us the space for that.
We have a very special place in our hearts for the Atlanta Tech Village. And so we are very glad that you will have that there. So talk about the event. It's a fundraiser. It's September 12th. We'll pop a link up.
Right.
What should we expect?
This is our 2-year anniversary. So we had such a crazy year last year in terms of winning the Forbes Change the World Entrepreneurship Competition.
No big deal.
And there we beat out about 600 other nonprofits nationally.
600 other nonprofits. Yeah, I just wanted to let that sink in. I'm sorry, continue.
And this was also we were only in operations for 4 months at the time. So that was it was huge enough to give us like a $50,000 cash grant that allowed us to really pilot our programs. From those programs, we worked with about 14 teachers at Drew Charter School, and 84% of those teachers said that our professional development program was much more effective than any STEM professional development training program that they've been in. And just really talking about those results from those teachers and also the work that we were able to do last year, we impacted 1,400 students in the Metro Atlanta area.
Bam!
This year, we're trying to scale that learning up to 3,000 learners and kind of adding 2 additional schools and 2 after-school service providers. So this event is for just all 200 of our friends, families, and supporters to just kind of rally around our successes that we had last year and also help give us support so that we can make our impact goals this year. And we have gotten sponsorships from Facebook, Google again. In addition to giving the space, Atlanta Tech Village has also came through to support, and also United Way of Atlanta. So we are still trying to raise our 100K goal, and this is one of those events that will help us get there.
Oh my gosh, I'm wearing long sleeves so you can't see, but I have goosebumps, like literally goosebumps right now because this is huge. This is so huge and you're so inspirational. I want to be there September 12th, and you all should be there too. As a mom of a child who is so into STEM, he's 8.5, he's at a local public school. How do I get my school involved with HonorCode?
Oh, such a great question. So you can get involved with HonorCode by sending us an email at info@honorcodeatl.org. It's interesting enough because of the impact that we have. Schools have been contacting us and we really want to work with schools.
Good.
And it's really, really interesting that you bring up your child. And even just talking about the event, I'd like to kind of just talk about, there's a few numbers that I kind of went through and crunched to kind of bring here in terms of like what happens. Apologies for this.
There's no apologies. We are in technology. It all lives on our phones, and that is okay. We all need to be okay with it.
So I know and we were just talking about the event, and so I like to, and this is us just kind of starting to think about our social return on investment and why we do the fundraisers around these things. So let's just look at Fulton County right now. So in Fulton County alone, there are about 3,822 16 to 19-year-olds who are not in school or working. All right. If we can just keep 10% of these kids in school and train them to attain a job as a web developer in Atlanta through their high school programs, there would be an over $2 million impact after just 1 year of them working. If we then stretch this across a 40-year career, we have the potential of creating over $110 million of impact. And this is based off of the current median income of a web developer in Atlanta, which is around $36.93 an hour. So that's one statistic that we're going to be talking about. Another one, in 2015 alone, there were 6,290 violent crimes within Fulton County, and this is all public data. If HonorCode can reduce this crime rate, again, by 10% by teaching proper social and emotional skills to kids in schools, focus them on a career path, and also kind of just keep them safe and engaged, all right? This would save Atlanta taxpayers over $7 million in costs to incarcerate these individuals that we have seen based on those stats. And that's another one of those huge moments. And here again, this is based off of the federal annual cost to incarcerate one person, which is a little over $31,000 for an average sentence of around 43 months. And then the last one I like to talk about is if you increase high school graduation rates in Fulton County by 10%, and then get those same students employed as web developers, there's a potential impact of a little over $4 million per year. And this is close to, over a lifetime, $180 million for these students to have income to do the things that they want. And I say all of those statistics to say, and this is also just thinking about how we think about kids, there's such a huge opportunity to impact them in their lives through, again, this is just 10%. Imagine if we were to do more.
I know, it's, oh my gosh, I'm so moved by this. And I'm a firm believer in things happening for a reason, and it's crazy as you're giving me these stats, especially around like economic development. Literally 30 minutes ago, the human in that chair was Chris Clark, the CEO of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce.
Really?
Yeah, and so we'll have to make that connection because I think that's huge. And not only that, but Senator John Albers has been a guest, and he has huge technology initiatives in the state of Georgia, especially around education. You guys need to connect if you don't already know him.
Right.
But
I'd love to.
Yeah, this is big. So beyond following your journal, see, I mess up too. It's okay. We don't have to edit this out because you know what? I'm all about authenticity. But beyond following your journey online through your various social handles and blog perhaps, how can we as a community support you? Obviously, show up to the fundraiser, donate online, but what can we do? Like this is the internet, right? So people from all over the world could be watching. And if they're as moved as I am by your story, they're gonna wanna, okay, what can we do? Tip, tap, tap, like, let's do this.
One of the things that I think that we could benefit from is just more people talking about our story. You'll be amazed at how many people in Atlanta and also in our state don't know that these type of things are happening.
Yep.
I think another area is we know that there are so many tech firms here that are really, really moving the needle with how Atlanta and also Georgia looks like in the tech space. Please contact us. We need your support. We understand that there is this huge focus on ages 18 to 26. But again, this K through 12 pipeline needs a lot of people working with it, and I know that HonorCode can't be the only person that is trying to move that needle, all right? Or the only organization that's trying to move that needle. We need everybody and all hands on deck for this, because I really think that Georgia, and specifically Atlanta, could position itself to be the Silicon Valley for the Southeast, not of it. And I think it's important because it's keeping in mind our rich civil rights history, how diverse we are, not only as a city of Atlanta, but also the state of Georgia. We have the opportunity of showing our counterparts on the West Coast how it can be done in an equitable way, and we need support.
Oh my gosh, yes, and thanks to players like Cox and their diversity inclusion initiatives, we could do one better than Silicon Valley in terms of rocking the diversity inclusion aspect of it that we hear horror stories about every day, not only in terms of lack of
also like women.
Yeah, like not only lack of racial diversity, but gender diversity.
Exactly.
So yeah, we can do better. We're Atlanta. We've got people like you here. We can do better, and we will. So Jeffrey Martin of HonorCode, as we wrap, is there anything else that you want to tell anybody out there watching? We've got this platform, like, let's rock it.
Awesome. Well, please follow us.
Yes.
Again, on all of our social media handles, on Twitter and on Instagram at HonorCodeATL. Also, please visit our website at honorcodeatl.org, and we look forward to hearing from you all soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for what you're doing and for being here today.
All right, and thank you. Thank you so much.